Hi, Michelle.
Hi.
Welcome. I'm so happy to have you here on my podcast.
Excited to be here.
Me and Michelle have been friends for around 2 years online. Never met in person, but hopefully we're going to very soon. I
Yes.
actually won a free session with Michelle. She is a clinical and functional nutritionist. And I'm honestly still benefiting from that one session we had almost 2 years back. So maybe I'll let you do a little introduction first as to who you are and what you do.
I'm so happy to hear that. I definitely take a minimalist as much as possible, the lazy nutritionist's guide to staying healthy. Yeah, because less is more. And it's actually when we stick to the basics, I think is where we get the big results. Except nobody likes the little things because they think you need the big things to get results. But I'm Michelle. I'm a women's clinical and functional nutritionist, but I realized early on in my burnout journey that that was not the only piece of the puzzle. So I also do NLP, women's life coaching, breath work, you name it, I've done it. Like I like to use manifestation, energetics, and I put it all together from what helped me, trying to get rid of the fluff because although I love going in depth with topics and get down to the cellular level, it isn't helpful for people who this isn't their job. So that's what I try and do is get it down to what do you need to do daily, the inner and outer work to basically feel your best, get rid of those hormonal issues that have been plaguing you for your whole life. For me, that was since I ever got my period, it's been an absolute shit show. And when I came off the pill, when I came to realize what the pill was actually doing to my body and what it was covering up, and that it wasn't the solution to your period problems, but more just turned off the symptoms so you don't know there's an issue. Basically, it was like opening a can of, can of worms, and it was very tempting to go back on that pill. But I had started my journey towards just completely reviewing the way I looked at my body and health and my life. And I just knew, even though I was not in a good space with burnout, adrenal fatigue, these period problems, that I just knew there had to be a better way. And spoiler, there is. Because I now have no period problems, more energy than I've had in years, and to the point that doing the inner work as well as that nutrition and the physical piece, doing the inner work really gave me a new lease on life. I just feel like a different person. It's I can enjoy the little things. I feel, I don't know, just that I can smile more, not get stressed as much. I go for my little hot girl walks now, and it's I feel like skipping as somebody who was always so controlled and stiff and afraid to feel. It's yeah, can feel my feelings a bit better.
I
And
love
I
it.
want that. I want that from my clients, basically.
Definitely. That's what I say is it's supporting people to just enjoy life more. Because I know we've been on very similar journeys from you kind of being in this masculine energy, feeling like we had to control our lives and everything in it, following what we think other people, what our lives should look like rather than what we actually want, to then completely transforming it and changing to follow what we love, connect with our purpose and do the things we enjoy, connect with our feminine energy, listen to our intuition. And it's
Yeah.
life actually gets to be so good.
Yeah.
And I just want to tell everyone that this is possible and that they can do it. And but I also love that everything in your life makes a difference. Yes, it's amazing to look into your nutrition. That's something that can really support you. But that alone isn't going to change everything. It's a piece of the puzzle, and it will improve things because you improve your physical health, your mindset is going to be improved, but there's other pieces that we can dive into and explore. And I love that you've looked into all these different areas because we can be multi-passionate as well.
Yeah.
We can be interested in many different things. And especially when we think about a job, so many people are like, "Oh, I do this one job. This is the position description.
Yeah.
This is what it is." But it's actually, what if we could create our own job based on all of the different things that we love and enjoy and that we're interested in? And actually, when you create a business, you can do that.
Yeah, that was both the like bane of my life and the most freeing aspect once I accepted it, once I let go of like some limiting beliefs and some like resistance to that. I thought I had to focus, especially when I did clinical nutrition and then I did like functional nutrition for women's health. And I was like, this is what I am now. Because
This
so
is the
when I first,
label.
yeah, yeah. And the thing is, I had left one label. I was a dentist, and that I was gonna say almost killed me. Like leaving that, a part of me did have to die, and it felt like die. Like if anyone has been through like a dark night of the soul. Some people will get it from like an illness, some people will get it from like job loss. From I didn't lose the job, I chose to leave, but no, I like burned the F out first before I was like, I don't think I'm meant to be here. Like my body had to literally like break down to be like, wake up, Michelle. You don't want to be doing this. This isn't for you. And it's showing. And it's not who you want to be, and it's not making you act and feel and think and behave and have the relationships that you want because you're so stressed about this one thing that is like out of alignment. And then I went from leaving one identity, like completely, burning everything down is what it felt like inside. But I did start to feel better physically, and then went into the functional nutrition thinking this is it. Like I tried to drop one label for another,
Yeah.
and the minute I could tell, I was like, I loved it. Oh my God, it gave me some realizations around like women's health and how we've been like, I won't even say lied to, because even the healthcare system doesn't even know the healthcare system what they don't know, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like they're just giving out the pill for every ill and masking period symptoms with the pill because it makes people feel better, like not really realizing that like it's going to pop up in another way because you actually haven't dealt with the root cause, which could be, like we said, physical, emotional, like energetic, past trauma, just the ways that we're being that are driving us into the ground don't really align with our women's hormones. We're living like men, thinking like men, having to act like men because we were taught that way. And that's just an absolute disaster for our hormones as women. So anyway, yeah, I did the functional nutrition, and I started to realize like the further I went into that, I was like, oh, this is getting very like conventional medicine-y. There was definitely some like very, very important things I learned there, but I was like, oh, this isn't the full puzzle. Like that was like the kind of like the physical, like learning about the body and gut health and our women's hormones, and that was all really enlightening, and we needed that. And like kind of this more cyclical living and our cycles and our seasons, learned all that. And then that got me so far, feeling better, but it still wasn't like the whole picture. And I realized like, but now instead of taking the pill, I'm now taking supplements to kind of cover up my period problems like PMS and like back pain, just mood pain. I thought I was going into early menopause. I was like getting like night sweats, just really low energy, just could not function around my period, migraines. And I would take things like supplements and they would help. And then the minute I stopped taking them, the symptoms would kind of come back. And I was like, oh, this is kind of the same thing. And then that brought me to do more of the inner work, NLP, breath work, like really getting to know like my conscious, subconscious mind, and what was driving the physical manifestations was the way I was being, which was also like out of alignment with how as women we should be. Yeah.
Definitely. It's a whole person approach. That's kind of what I feel like is missing in the normal doctors. But what we can
Yeah.
do is get to know ourselves. And then I think there's this mind body piece as well. And I know this is for people who haven't had this perspective before, might be like, oh, that's different. But I really do believe that our bodies are actually always giving us signs of that
Yeah.
something's out of alignment, and they're actually there to like support us to get back into alignment. So stuff like having really bad periods, it is like, what is that root cause? You can figure that out and cure that piece of it. That's when they start getting better. I'd love to hear what supported you the most with your periods.
Yeah. Like I said, the physical got me so far. Um, and I had been doing nutrition for a while. So really realizing actually the way we should eat, like the way we kind of cook our food and the things that we're doing like in our life, like exercising or workloads, is like cyclical as women. Realizing that men's hormones are more linear. They can get up at the same time every day and do the same thing and have the same energy, have the same mood. But as women, we actually have like a monthly cycle. So our moods, our appetite, our energy levels, how much rest we need at times where we're more stressed or during your luteal phase or your period, you may want to have like more comfort food, like, and I don't mean like that whole bar of chocolate, but more like slow cooked foods and things that are cooked for you to aid your digestion. Whereas when we're ovulating and we're feeling good, we've got more energy, we, number one, may not need as much food. And number two, we can have more like salads and things like that because our digestion can cope with it a bit more. And this is for somebody who has a healthy cycle. And if you have any dysregulation at all, it kind of means your nervous system is probably quite stressed. So you may need to be in winter energy for a couple of months to get that all back online before you notice this actual 4-phase cycle of like your summer, spring, winter, autumn in a month. Because if your hormones are off at all, that will also be off. So that was like my first piece. But I actually, if I could go back, and the way I structure my programs now is I actually would have done my mindset works first, because true change starts internally, and it starts like with your identity, rooting out your limiting beliefs, and like you said, getting to really know yourself and be like, what, whoa, weird. Why do I think that? You know, believing that you're worthy is like number one, because you're not going to do the things that you need to do to be healthy if you don't believe that you're worthy of being healthy. If you don't like love yourself enough, or think you're good enough to do the thing, you won't do the thing. You know, this is classic starting the gym, and people go for a couple of weeks and then they fall off because they actually haven't change their identity as the person who goes to the gym first. So when things get hard, they fall off because they haven't embodied, or they don't identify as that person who does it regardless.
Yeah, I think another piece with that as well is like connecting with, what do you actually want to do? Because if you tell yourself you're going to go to the gym because you feel like you should do it, but you
Yeah.
actually really hate the gym, it's not going to work for you. Obviously, with nutrition as well, there's good things to eat, there's things that are not so good to eat, but everyone's different as well. Yes, there's what's good for your body, but it's also what's good for your mindset, your emotions, your lifestyle, your belief system. I'm a vegan. Not everyone has to
Yes.
be
Yeah.
that, but that's what works for me, you know. We do things we feel like we should do because we're like, this is what is healthy. This is what someone somewhere has told me is healthy, but we don't know
Yeah.
if it's healthy for me.
When people are like dysregulated, what I find is like they're not in tune with their body. So they actually don't I don't know what I need. They'll crave sugar and sweets and things like that. That's more coming from like a survival response. Whereas when you actually regulate your nervous system and you get out of survival mode and you're spending more time in that rest, digest, relax, calm, regulated, kind of I can flow and I can play state, which is meant to be our like natural state. We're meant to be there like 70 to 80% of the time. And things like exercise and general excitement is more like a fight or flight response. But I think we're actually living like topsy-turvy, which is why our bodies are like burning out and our hormones are all over the place. But to regulate my nervous system, which I think that was a big pivot moment. So like the mindset and the nutrition and stuff was great. And then tuning into your body and regulating your nervous system and using breath work and stuff to process emotions and release stock energy that are causing you to stay in that state. As a result of that, your nervous system starts to naturally relax. So you don't need to be doing EFT tapping like 24 hours a day, or you don't need to be slow cooking all your meals and drinking bone broth to like get your nutrients and having 10 supplements. You don't need all of that then, because your body's not running on like overdrive. Whereas when your body's relaxed, you're utilizing the food you eat more efficiently. You still want to eat well and feel good, but you don't need as much resources and nutrients because your body's not running on cortisol 24/7.
Yeah. And something I actually picked up in one of your courses that I keep reminding myself as well is you're not what you eat. Tell me if I'm saying this wrong, but you're what you
Yeah.
can absorb.
Yes. The digestion. We need to be eating different. We're not static. We're dynamic and we have different ebbs and flows. Yin and yang. There's never one size fits all. And even that one size fluctuates. So we've got to move with that. But you can only do that when you are tuned into your body and you can actually tell, oh, I'm feeling a bit stressed right now. Oh, I think I'll support my digestion a bit more. I better like sit and eat and chew my food really well. And maybe I need some digestive aids or I need to eat more slow cooked foods today. Recognizing where you are, but when you're in survival mode, by definition, it's like you're disconnected from your body. I've had consults with women who very clearly from their intake forms are like completely dysregulated, hormones all over the place, every symptom ticked off. And you'll be like, oh, what are your sources of stress? And they're like, oh, not that stressed, like no more than your average woman, because we normalize being stressed, we normalize being busy. It leads to abnormal symptoms in your body and it turns your digestion off. So when your digestion is off, you actually can't even digest what you're putting in your body. So I've got women who say, I eat really well, and they do. I look at their forms, I'm like, you eat better than me, but they're not absorbing it. And also because they're not breaking it down properly, it's getting to their gut and it's causing sensitivities and reactions to foods that shouldn't be causing reactions.
So it is just like this reminder that you can eat really healthy, but if you're
Yeah.
stressed, it's not
Yeah.
necessarily going to benefit you. And actually, the foundational piece is to put your body in this relaxed state and feel grounded and calm. And from
Mhm.
that place, we can then take the steps. So
Yeah.
borderline, let's feel grounded, safe, stable, calm. And then we have like an energy from there to be able to make small changes to other areas of our
Yeah.
life.
Like you can make
Yes.
better decisions from there rather than having the scattered energy or trying to do all the things. I always say it's not what you do as well, it's like the energy that you're doing it in, because our brains tell our body what to do. It's my brain that is switching on or off my digestive system. So it's not just because you sit down to eat, your digestion isn't like, and to digest now. It's what your brain is telling it. So if you are sitting down to eat, but your mind is thinking about your to-do list, it's worrying, ruminating about the future, like worrying about what you said to that stranger yesterday. You're like, why did I say that? Your brain is stressed. So if you're stressed, usually our body's in survival mode, your digestion is not switched on. Your body hasn't registered because your brain is stressing. And this also goes for like eating on the go. You're putting food down then, it's not being absorbed. And also your digestion is meant to kill off the bacteria and stuff on the food or, parasites if it was on. But if it's not on, or if you're really stressed, then usually people have low stomach acid. So it's not doing what it's meant to, your defenses are down. So then all these bacteria that usually are killed off in your stomach are making their way to your gut and then cause havoc. Whereas I like to think of nervous system regulation, which nobody wants to do, but I'm telling you, that's the game changer. Nervous system regulation gets that all back online and just slowing down, not rushing and sitting down and like registering that you're going to eat. Like let your brain register so it can tell your body to switch on.
It is as simple as we just need to slow down. I
Yeah.
think in many areas of our life, it's been normalized to be doing all the
Yeah.
time. And actually, what we need to do is do less. We need to
And
spend more time being.
slow down to speed up.
Yes,
That's
it
the
does
thing is
benefit
like,
us.
I think a lot of people who have these gut issues, they get so obsessed with the things they have to eat and the supplements and the everything. It's like that's also causing you like a lot of stress.
Hmm.
Whereas if you were pairing it with things that regulate your nervous system, breath work, meditation, like embodiment practices, process your emotions, gargling, cold exposure. I've realized like since I regulated my nervous system, I am just naturally singing more because humming and singing is something that you don't do if you're under attack or you're under threat, like a sign of being safe and being happy and in that what's called ventrovagal in your nervous system, which is rest and digest and flow and calm mode.
Love it. And there's honestly so many different tools to regulate your nervous
Yeah,
system as
yeah,
well.
it's
So,
not,
like, it's finding what works for you. For some people, breath work feels amazing. Getting out in nature is definitely one for
yeah,
me, like going for walks, but just
yes,
being
that's mine.
outside. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just not being on technology and going in the bath, yoga. And it really is just finding what makes you feel calm. So it feels like your main takeaway is regulate your nervous system. What would be your best tip for nutrition?
there's a lot of food noise out there when actually getting to know your body first and paying attention to what's going on there, regulating it a little bit, and then from there, paying attention to how you feel and using a mostly whole food diet. But I am definitely not one for restriction. Like I have chocolate, I have a glass of wine, but it's kind of that like 80-20 rule where mostly whole foods, like less processed foods, and also if you're feeling stressed, act accordingly, like cook your foods more, support your digestion, slow down. But as for like hormonal health, women are just not eating enough protein. It is really important. It is harder to get in. So enough protein, and fiber, and don't be afraid of carbs because they do create safety in the body. For women, especially in reproductive years, carbs, uh, moderate carb diet, um, does create a sense of safety, which helps us produce like progesterone, which is important for your mood and healthy periods. So the more safe your body feels, the more it'll do what you want it to do.
Love it. I just want to remind people as well, like literally 1% shifts make such a difference. After I worked with Michelle,
Yeah,
I brought some protein powder, supplements to support me. And I feel like it's making these small steps. Then they become part of your daily routine that they
yeah,
don't even feel like an effort anymore. So like, don't try and overwhelm yourself with trying to do everything all at one go,
no,
but just pick like one or two things, let them feel good, and then move on to
yeah.
something else.
That's where you get your transformation. When you're feeling bad, it's very easy to slip back into your old habits. And it's because you don't have the bandwidth and you haven't embodied it. Whereas I realize now I still keep some of those healthy habits, even when I'm having like maybe an ebb,
Yeah.
a down period. There's certain things because I've integrated them for so long and practiced them, they're embodied. So I just keep doing those like with minimal effort. Little by little, you'll look back and realize like how far you've come.
Yeah. They
Um,
become your new norm.
and it's like putting Smarties in a big jar. And say you're adding protein every day, you're trying to get your protein, and it's just a Smartie in a jar, like it looks like nothing. And you do 5-10 days, and you're like, still looks like nothing. And eventually you've done it for 3 months and your jar is overflowing. And that's when it starts spilling out in your energy and you can give more. And that's when people are like, you look different, but you've got 3 months of like nobody noticing.
But then, yeah, people do. And just as well, some people feel like it's selfish to work on themselves.
Mhm.
And I just want to say it's not. The more you look after yourself, the more that you can give. So it supports everyone.
People, women, especially moms, you're not doing them any favors by neglecting yourself because number one, energy doesn't lie. So if you feel really stressed, if you're undernourished, you're sick, you're running on empty, you can't hide it. Like
Well, you can feel
you
it when you're around
feel it.
someone
Yeah,
who
yeah.
doesn't feel good.
Number two, like you're going to be more reactive because you're like abandoning yourself, and we're all little inner children too. We've got
Yes.
our own like little inner children, and they will lash out and they will break down. We want to show up as the best version of ourselves, but when you're in survival mode, you just literally can't do that because your primal instincts take over. And number three, the more you can build yourself up, you give yourself time, rest, nourishment, take care of yourself, work on yourself, invest in yourself. There comes a time where that just overflows, where you are that person who you don't have to tell your child what to do. They just see it. You're showing them how to look after themselves. You're showing them what regulation looks like. You're showing them what healthy looks like because you're doing it. So
We're
you don't
leading
have to
by
teach them.
example.
You're showing them. Yeah.
Yeah. Love that. Well, thanks, Michelle, so much for coming on
Thanks for having me
today.
on.
You are
Thank
so
you.
welcome. And
I
how
love
can
talking to
people
you.
find you?
I'm on Instagram and it's Michelle Meredith. I'm Irish. I can't pronounce my THs, so I'm still getting used to my New surname.
I love
Um,
that. I'll put it below as well so people
yeah,
can
and
find you.
also, yeah, I've got a YouTube under the same name. I'll have my own podcast soon, but I think yeah, my Instagram's the best place. Like just message me if you have any questions.
Amazing. Perfect. And is there like any up and coming programs that you're working on at the moment?
Yes, I've got a program coming up for women who basically want to do the work I've talked about in this. It's got the physical things and kind of learning how to nourish yourself when you're like as a woman, like when you're feeling those times of stress, as well as that mindset work, the energetic work, processing your emotions, nervous system regulation, and also creating a community with that, because that's really important. I think that we hear each other's stories and realize we're not alone in the things we're going through. And live components, yeah, because I just want people to get that transformation that I got. I just want them to know that it doesn't have to be struggle bus all the time, and we don't have to put up with all these like health issues that are on the rise amongst women, and we can just feel good most days.
Sounds amazing. And I think
Yeah.
like we teach on the things that we most needed to learn. And know both of us are like, taking our own experiences and teaching and being able to support other people. And just know that
Yeah.
you can do it. Like if other people have done it, that's evidence that you can. And even
Yeah.
if you haven't seen someone do what you want to do, like it's possible. And I feel like having support is like the quickest, easiest, fastest way to
Yes,
get there.
definitely. You
Where
you need someone to call you out on your BS and see your blind spots in the most loving way.
definitely
Yeah.
amazing. Well, thank you so
Okay, thanks,
much.
Effie. Bye.
Goodbye.